Do not start GLP-1 medications until you watch this video. I am not here to scare you, but I am here to tell you the truth. And this video might challenge some of the things that you've heard or some of the things that you fully believe about these medications. You might not like everything I'm about to say, but I'm saying it anyway because I fully wish someone had said these things to me when I first started my journey on GLP-1 medications. It would have saved me a lot of confusion, even frustrations, and a few rough weeks that didn't have to be so rough. But before we get started, I need to put a quick disclaimer here. I am not a medical professional. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I am just someone who has been on these medications for over 2 years and who has lost over 75 pounds using them. And I learned a whole lot the hard way. This is me sharing what I wish I had known, so you don't have to figure it out all alone. These medications have been completely life-changing for me, and they can be for you too. But they also come with side effects, mindset shifts, and a whole bunch of things that nobody really prepares you for. And before we dive in, if you are still in the research phase, if you are still trying to figure out GLP-1 medications, this video will be very helpful, but I did also create a completely free GLP-1 starter guide. It's called Oh Shit Maybe, because you're like maybe thinking about starting or about ready to get started. It'll cover a lot of the basics about these medications. That is completely free and in the description below. And if you want even more support, I'm actually working on a 22 mini lesson bingeable course called Oh Shit, Let's Go. It's a real talk series that covers the first few months of being on a GLP-1 medication. I am pouring everything into it. So make sure that you are subscribed to this channel so that you know when it drops. Okay, so let's get into the 5 things that I think you need to know before you start a GLP-1 medication. Number 1. These medications are not magic. You are not guaranteed to lose a ton of weight. Actually, statistically, people on GLP-1s lose 15 to 20% of their weight. In all of the studies that you see online, all of the trials that were run, 15 to 20% is the number that you see all the time. That is what is more of that guaranteed to lose. And anything beyond that is extra. And typically, when we have to really start working hard and doing all of the things to make that 15 to 20% become 30 to 40% of our weight. And just to break down the numbers, if you start at 250 pounds, 30 to 50 pounds loss is considered successful. That is 15 to 20% of your weight. So starting at 250, getting down to 200 pounds is what is considered to be successful on GLP-1 medications. So looking at my story, I started at 258 pounds. I have already lost 20% of my body weight. So technically, these medications have done all they're supposed to do, according to the statistics. And any more weight that I lose is just icing on the cake, or is me having to make lifestyle changes that are going to carry me into getting to my goal weight. And that's not to discourage you. Plenty of people have lost more than 20% of their body weight. Plenty of people. But it slows down drastically once you get to that 20%. So when we are seeing these big losses of all these people who have lost significantly more than 20% of their body weight, that's not always typical. It is possible. But we've got to make sure that we are stepping back and realizing that if we have lost 20% of our body weight, we might either be done or we might have to make more drastic changes to our lifestyle, using the medication as a tool still to get further in our weight loss journey. And that doesn't mean that it's not working anymore. So this med gives you the space to change, but that change is still going to take work. All right, number 2, let's talk about the difference between fast responders and slow responders. And just to start, fast responders are not winning. And slow responders are not failing. And food noise doesn't necessarily disappear for everyone. So some people are going to lose 10 pounds in their very first week, and others are going to take 2 to 3 months to lose their first 10 pounds. That is the difference between slow responders and fast responders. And you could be either one, or you can be somewhere in between. Either way, you will end up losing about 15 to 20% of your body weight as long as you stick to using the medication. Fast responders almost always end up slowing down. And this is when a lot of you start getting frustrated and start reaching out and saying, I'm so frustrated, I'm so disappointed. I was losing so much weight at first and now I'm not losing any weight. This is typical of a fast responder. It is going to significantly slow down. You're going to have to just keep going and you will still continue to lose weight, but it's not going to be as fast as it was at the beginning. So if you're losing 10 pounds a week at the beginning, you can't expect to lose 10 pounds throughout your entire journey. It is going to significantly slow down, and you need to be okay with that, and you need to understand that that does not mean that the medication is not working. Keep going. Slow responders are those that start this medication and they're not losing weight and they give up, or they start complaining and they just stop taking the medication. And they're the ones that say this medication doesn't work. And that is just simply not true. If you are a slow responder, it is going to take you longer to start losing weight. But once it starts, it's gonna start, and you are going to catch up to those fast responders down the line. You just have to stick with it, and you've got to stop complaining about it. Almost everyone that I have talked to during this journey that was a slow responder, as long as they stayed on the medication, end up sending me a message later on in their journey letting me know how much weight they have lost finally. It always comes with that word, right? I finally lost the weight. Yes, you did. You were just a slow responder, and that does not mean that the medication is not working. But now I also have to be completely 100% honest with you. There are some people that don't respond at all. There is a very small percentage of people who will take a GLP-1 medication and have zero response. And if you are one of those people, I am so sorry. That is literally the worst thing ever. And I hate that for you. But there is a small portion. You need to stick with the medication for a decent amount of time to figure out if you are one of those people, and talk to your doctor. Get on a one-on-one basis with your doctor and talk through that scenario. And when is it time to throw the towel in, or when is it time to try a different medication? But do not just think that because you're not losing weight within your first month, the medication is not working. That is simply not true. It is not the case for most people. It will start to work. You just need a higher dose. Also, food noise. Food noise does not always go away right away. I cannot count how many messages I have received of people telling me, I still have food noise. And I ask them when they started, and they will literally tell me yesterday. Yesterday. You took your injection yesterday, your food noise is probably still going to be there. Some people will notice a food noise diminishing immediately, right? Some people do. They're fast responders. That is going to happen really quickly. But the slow responders may not notice food noise diminishing until week 2 or week 3, or maybe even week 4. And that's because slow responders might just need a higher dose for the food noise to go away. But stick with it. At least get to the therapeutic doses before you start complaining. On semaglutide, the therapeutic dose is 1 milligram. So if you have not gotten to a 1 milligram dose and you are complaining that the food noise is not gone, you are probably just a slow responder. Keep going. Get to that 1 milligram dose, and then you can start complaining. But I don't want to hear it until you get to 1 milligram. For tirzepatide, that therapeutic dose is 10 milligrams. So keep going until you get to a 10 milligram dose, and then you can start talking to your doctor, and then you can start wondering, why is my food noise not gone? But slow responders may need the therapeutic dose to see or feel the results. Others will feel it right away, and we are the lucky ones, but not everybody is that way. So this, I think, is the biggest, maybe let me hold your hand while I tell you this moment, right? You may not see results right away. You might be a slow responder. That does not mean that you are failing. That does not mean that the medication is not working. Keep going. All right, number 3, the medication is not going to fix your relationship with food. That is a mental game that you are going to have to continue working with yourself, maybe even with a therapist, right? This is something that you have dealt with for most, if not all of your life. The emotional eating, the binge eating, the boredom eating, all of these things are not going to just simply go away with a medication. Are you going to be able to make better choices? Most of the time, yes. But sometimes if something huge happens emotionally and food has always been your crutch, you're still going to want that food. For me, when I get sick, I always want food, and it's typically always Pizza Hut. And when I'm sick, I still order Pizza Hut. I can't eat as much, but it's still an emotional thing, an emotional trigger that I still have to this day, 2 years after starting this journey and almost being at my goal weight. But these are things that the medication is not supposed to fix. Those are things that you are going to have to work on within yourself and maybe a therapist. The mindset piece is huge when it comes to weight loss in general, regardless of how you lose the weight. This med is going to give you the room to breathe, but the healing parts, that's still yours to do. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually going to give you the chance to build something that's going to last. All right, number 4, you might feel awful in the beginning. And most of the time, that's okay. Again, disclaimer, not a doctor. But the first few weeks of starting this medication for some people can be kind of rough. You might feel nauseous, exhausted, constipated, or just off. And that doesn't mean the medication isn't working. I mean, obviously, right? It's definitely working, just probably a little bit too much. But your body is also adjusting to the medication. It's gonna get better. But I want you to know that a lot of the times when these side effects happen at the beginning, they do go away. But if they are really bad, talk to your doctor, reach out to your doctor. Make sure you are not dosing up too quickly. Make sure you are taking exactly what your doctor told you to take, and go slow. Drink your water, take your supplements, increase your protein, get in your electrolytes, and rest if you need to. Your body is adapting, and sometimes it's not fun. All right, I saved the last one as the one that I'm still working on and is extremely important. If you don't change anything, the weight will come back. Let me repeat that. If you don't change anything, the weight will come back. This is my biggest fear about GLP-1 medications. This is my biggest fear about weight loss in general. When you are losing weight, if you stop the things that you are doing, aka you go off of the medication, the weight is going to come back unless you have completely overhauled your lifestyle. The weight is going to come back. We can say all day long that we have changed our lifestyle. We are losing weight. The weight is coming off. But for someone like me specifically, and I will call myself out in this section completely, I still eat all the foods that I used to eat. I just eat less of them because the GLP-1 medication helps me eat less by controlling my appetite and my suppression. Without the GLP-1 medication, that appetite is no longer controlled. I will no longer be able to eat only 2 slices of pizza until I really learn how to either tell myself I'm full or convince myself that there's only 2 slices of pizza left. I have to only eat 2 slices. But without the medication, that hunger is going to come back. The suppression is something that I have never known in my life. Feeling full and satisfied is a feeling that I never knew before starting these GLP-1 medications. And I am terrified that if I were to ever go off of them, that's all going to come back. And instead of eating only 2 slices of pizza, I'm going to eat the whole pizza again. So you don't have to change everything overnight. It doesn't have to be this drastic change of your entire lifestyle and everything that you're eating. It doesn't have to happen that way. But we do need to start practicing. Notice I said we. This is something that I am still working on 2 years into my journey. So if you are just starting, I need you to know that it's okay that you're not making drastic changes, but they will need to happen at some point. We need to learn how to eat enough protein and how to add in fiber into our day. We need to learn how to add in movement and exercise into our days. Tracking in ways that don't infuriate us, tracking in ways that are fun, that are easy. We have to learn those things along our journey. And I have learned so much in the last 2 years, but I am still learning. I am still changing. I am still adapting. I am still trying to get into the lifestyle that I need to be in if I were to ever decide to go off of these medications. I am terrified of going off of them. And that's a real truth, a very vulnerable truth that I'm sharing with you guys, because I do fully believe that if I was to go off of these medications right now, I would gain the weight back. I would try hard not to. I really would. But I don't know if I could. But I want to get there. And you're going to get there too. But this is a truth that you need to understand. Something else that I've heard a lot is, I want to start these medications and I want to do them for 3 months and then I want to lose some weight and get off of them. What is 3 months going to do for your future? You may lose 10 to 15 pounds in 3 months, but as soon as you go off of these medications, that's going to come back. And it's probably going to come back in tenfold because you're literally just taking the medication to help with your suppression. And then once the medication is out of your system, that suppression is going to come back. We have to learn how to eat the right foods to be satisfied and to have that suppression in a more natural way, which for some of us may be physically impossible because of the things that are happening in our bodies. So the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. And this med is going to give you the room to finally make that happen. So listen, starting GLP-1 medications can completely change your life like they did for me, but only if you go into it with realistic expectations, the right support, and a plan that actually works for you. And you don't need to be perfect. You definitely don't need to do everything at once, but you do need to know what you're walking into. And your expectations need to be realistic. So take your time, use this med as a tool, not a crutch. Learn how your body works. Track the things that matter and make sure to give yourself the permission to go slow. All right, if you haven't grabbed my free starter guide called Oh Shit Maybe, go ahead and head down to the description and grab it right now. If this video was helpful to you, if you enjoyed it, or if you just want to learn more about me and my journey, go ahead and make sure to hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you part of this community. I've also opened up a membership for this channel. So if you want more behind the scenes or faster responses, earlier access to videos, I've already posted quite a few members only shorts in there, and we're going to do a once a month live that's members only. Definitely head down to the description and join my membership. It is only $5 per month, and I would love to have you in there. And if you want to get to know me and my story just a little bit better, I'm going to go ahead and put my weight loss journey video right here, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!